Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily podcast, where I'm still here wandering the show floor at VMware Explore here in Barcelona, and I've just bumped into Andy Corcoran from VMware. And he is just an incredible guy, passionate about providing positive business outcomes through technology solutions. And with his team, he's known for meticulously planning and executing business plans to provide incremental business value to both their partners and customers alike. And not only that, he's a whole heap of fun to be around, so ticks all the boxes for the perfect guest to appear on the show. So I asked him to join me for a few minutes on the podcast. Thankfully he said yes, so buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Barcelona, where you can join me and Andy in conversation. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
My name's Andy Corcoran. I look after the partner and distribution world for the UK and at VMware.
So obviously we're here at VMware Explore. Can you tell me a little bit more about VMware's partner program?
The Partner Connect program that we have is a globally consistent program that incorporates all of the different roles that our partners play in trying to support our customers in delivering their solutions. It's a tiered-based structure, as pretty much all of the partner programs that in tech world exist. And the tiers are based around performance and capability, as you would expect. The more performance that you deliver requires you to invest in more of the capabilities to be able to implement that on behalf of the customer and on behalf of us. So that's always a great start. And there's a real simple path to progression through to greater profitability because you achieve things more at the different tiers inside of the program. The majority of the partners that will exist in Explore and will come out will range from everything from a really tiny boutique service provider through to cloud service providers, to the traditional VARs and resellers. The GSIs of this world will be here. Kyndryl's got a big stand downstairs, right the way through to our pinnacle partners, the top of the tier, who are worldwide reseller type bodies that do a fantastic job of supporting all our solutions.
Well, as I said, we're here in Barcelona at the moment. There just seems to be a real community vibe amongst everyone. And for anyone listening that are outside of that community anywhere in the world, how would you say VMware works with its key partners to address cloud technology needs for your customers?
I think one of the best things that we do is we kind of focus on, and it's been a bit of a shift in how we sell our product. So now, the imperative that I have, that my team has, is to be able to transform what we sell to our customers from a perpetual type license to a SaaS or a subscription-based license. Now that's produced a fundamental change in what we want to our partners to be able to deliver for us. And that's because if you're in a world of subscription where you can be replaced quite quickly at the end of a contract, what we wouldn't want is a partner that behaves in a very old school fashion, doing a bit of a hit and run that says, thanks very much for this 3-year deal that we signed up to. I'll see you again in 2.5 years' time when you need to do the renewal. So what we really want is partners that are hand-holding the customer right the way through the life cycle of what they need to do. So whether it's, assessments, design, implementation of that solution, the management of it, and ultimately the customer success, measuring whether or not we actually achieve the outcome that we set out for the customer when we started. So moving to this SaaS and subs model, what we have done is provided a reward, an incentive platform around how to be able to gain profitability at each stage of that life cycle, which encourages the partner to be with the customer all the time and make sure that they deliver a great outcome. Now, in turn, our enablement of the partners to be able to do that means that they remain more relevant with their customers, and they can see how we are really fundamentally changing how they have a relationship with their customer to deliver even more success. And we reward them for doing it.
Yeah.
So we do a really good job, and that's the job that my team do today, in making sure that the UK&I partners are really in the best position to demonstrate this transformation.
And you mentioned customer success there and why it's so important. Why would you say customers are turning towards VMware technologies like VCF, for example, to support and enhance their business operations? Just for anyone outside your community, why VMware?
Yeah, well, I think one of the great things that we don't have to do is we don't have to push water uphill.
Yeah.
The vast majority of our customers out there know VMware for the past 25 years anyway. We created an industry in virtualization around the technology that we provide. Now, we've been a trusted platform for the past 25 years. And as a result, the installed base that we have answers that question. We have all of the capability, all of the referenceability in how to do this right. For the partners themselves, they make a decision based on the profitability that they gain from working with a particular program or not. So focusing on what we think the customers need, the hand-holding right the way through, is definitely why those partners will come and work with us. That's the why the VMware, because we will provide them with the profitability across the life cycle of that customer solution.
And one of the key focuses at the Explore event is sovereign cloud and private AI, of course. But if we just focus on sovereign cloud, why is ensuring data sovereignty so important for organizations right now? And how does VMware Sovereign address that? How does it help?
I think at the very heart of sovereign cloud is the idea that you have to provide the highest levels of control over not only access to the data, but the control over your data. We're seeing, regulation on a regular basis that is changing and driving different requirements that come through. We see DORA is the most recent one, which is the digital operational, what's it called, Resiliency Act that the EU have released. And the idea here is that you have to be able to demonstrate in law that you are providing a platform that is secure for the data of which you're holding your customers' information in. Now, I think VMware's Sovereign Cloud initiative is about an ecosystem, a global ecosystem of cloud service providers that are committed to helping the customers comply with all of these rapidly growing and changing regulations and the data privacy laws that go with them. The sovereign cloud provision that we have means that the partners have got to be able to self-attest, to be able to, acquire and to keep the skills of qualifying to the right levels of frameworks, the right levels of best practices, the technical architectures that are required to be able to absolutely deliver cloud services that adhere to the data sovereignty rules of whatever the body or the jurisdiction that is actually demanding the security. So what we've got is, I think there's 50 of our cloud service providers today that are in that sovereign cloud community that are able to offer that out to all of the customers that need it.
And if we look to the future a little, especially on that regulatory landscape that seems to be evolving, what would you say the risks are for organizations who don't have a defined data sovereignty policy in the future, all those supporting technologies in place?
Well, I think to go back to the DORA example, I think I read the penalties that can range for non-compliance with DORA for financial institutions is 1% of global revenue daily.
Wow.
So it can go from that basis right the way through to a cease and desist order. So they've got real teeth in being able to do this. We haven't seen it fully implemented yet, so we don't know what it would look like, or whether it would ever go that far. But that's pretty stark a figure if you're going to have to manage that for on behalf of your customers' data.
And we mentioned a moment ago private AI. It's a huge talking point here. It's getting a lot of headlines, but Can you give a brief explanation of what you think that entails and how that will take shape?
I love the approach we are taking to private AI.
Yeah.
Because I think it matches the experience that we've had with another dramatic hype cycle.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's a marketing department in the world that isn't putting Gen AI in front of anything that they're trying to service at the moment. But we heard this before, and it was everything cloud. You only think back a couple of years, and it's like, oh, cloud is the absolute panacea of everything that you need to do, which for a lot of customers led to this cloud-first strategy that we kind of talk about quite regularly in the multi-cloud story. But we now know that didn't deliver in all of the cases exactly what that customer needed from the outcome, which we coined the phrase cloud chaos. That's where the customer ended up. And so we definitely advocate a more cloud smart approach, which is about understanding where the application needs to reside for what level of performance, availability, governance, security, etc.
Yeah.
And pragmatically putting it in the right place at the right time, which will be for the right cost. Now, that seems pretty simple, and we thought that everybody would have done that at the very beginning. But the hype overtook everybody and kind of moved towards, well, I've got to do everything cloud.
Yeah.
I think that same environment is settled today. You hear so much about generative AI that you kind of forget that AI and ML workloads have been running inside of VMware environments for donkeys years.
Yeah.
So I think for us, I love the fact that what we're saying is don't want to move away from the enthusiasm or optimism about what AI can actually bring. However, you do want to make sure you don't mess it up in the same way that you did cloud chaos, because the consequences could be, when it comes to protecting your own IP, you don't want developers uploading source code to ChatGPT to try and optimize my code, which has now happened.
Yeah.
And the source code of some electronics manufacturers are in the open source world for people to see. That's not private.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to make sure you protect that. We've just had a conversation about the actual regulation that exists for the data. You don't want that data being in the public domain either. That's absolutely the currency of what the AI platform provides. So private AI is essential to providing that certification.
100% with you. And I think there's a lot of nervousness from business leaders at the moment. They're a bit concerned about their IP, as you said. They don't want to get left behind, but they don't want to dive in. And we've got the regulatory stuff waiting on the horizon. So I appreciate this is a huge question, but how can organizations successfully achieve that right balance between the benefits of AI and privacy and compliance rules? Because it's a lot of balance in there, isn't it?
It is. And I think it isn't one solution that just gets added in.
Yeah.
When I do the model, I'll just drop in a bit of privacy. If I'm putting the compute really close to where the data is so that I can get the best performance out of my AI, that's when I'll think about this. What VMware's private AI is an architectural approach to being able to ensure that we balance the business gains that we want out of AI, but with the privacy and compliance needs that the organization has. So it's kind of, you still get the enthusiasm, you still get the good bit, and you even get the police on the side of it, making sure you don't do anything wrong while you're doing it. So actually, I think that pragmatism is absolutely brilliant and the best way to be able to get that way. The benefit of being able to do this is that we're able to focus on the platform and the infrastructure itself that provides the support for all of the AI platforms. And that means you can operate it in a data center on premise, you can operate it in a public cloud, or you can operate it at the edge. So wherever your use case is, actually the architectural support is foundational to what it is that you want to do.
Yeah, 100%. And we are at that time of the year where futurist technologists are filling our news feeds with predictions for next year. Of course, those same futurists failed to predict the rise of Gen AI this year, so there's no pressure on you. But What do you think the major challenges and opportunities will be for IT and channel partners next year in 2024?
I think some of the challenges won't change from where they are today. I think the biggest one that both customers and channel partners face, which is both a challenge and an opportunity, is when you come to the skills shortages that are generally around in the industry at the moment. You know, we've got an approach that tries to convince our partners that the way that they can help customers through this skill shortage is to adopt some of the cross-cloud managed services that we have that will help guide that customer and act as that management tier for a customer to be able to make sure they deliver what we need to get done. So I think that's the first thing that comes out. Obviously, augmenting skills for a shortage of a customer means that there's a huge opportunity for professional service delivery, for just standard, tech delivery of implementation services and all of that kind of stuff as well. So the service opportunity, whether it be managed service or professional service, is still a real high opportunity for the channel in the UK and Ireland, certainly.
Well, I love chatting with you today. I'm going to have a bit of fun with you now and throw a curveball at you before we go.
All right, okay.
We have a Spotify playlist for the podcast. I always ask my guests to leave a song for that. So when you're flying home, I'm going to have my big noise-cancelling earphones on. What song shall I add to that Spotify playlist?
Do you know what? I would have to say that I've seen this band live a million times. And when She Sells Sanctuary by The Cult comes on, that's just one of the greatest tunes. You can't fail not to wake up.
Absolute banging.
A bit of head banging.
Yeah, Ian Asprey, man. That's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So I'm going to add it to the Spotify playlist. For anyone wanting to just find out more about anything we talked about today, anywhere you want to point them to on the web?
Sure. We actually produce what we call a Pulse newsletter, which is a partner update that leads sales engagement. And it's our community that come together to produce a video newsletter every quarter. You know, every member of my team, if you look to my LinkedIn profile or anything along those lines, will highlight access to that Pulse newsletter. We definitely recommend taking a look at that.
Awesome. I'll add a link to that so people can get hold of that nice and easily. I appreciate how busy you are, my friend, back and forth, but just thanks for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thanks very much.
Again, a huge thank you to Andy for joining me on the podcast today, exploring the world of sovereign cloud, why data sovereignty is so important for organizations, and also discussing the other big talking point here, private AI. And I have wrote an article about that over on techopedia.com, so check out my written content over there. And I also thank Andrew for leaving me with Earworm. I'm going to have She Sells Sanctuary playing inside my head for the next week at least, and that ain't no bad thing. For everyone listening, please email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, just @NeilChughes. Send me a message if you've been here at VMware Explore. Let me know your experiences. Let me know your takeaways. If not, from the outside looking in, what are your takeaways? Let me know, and I'll be back again bright and early tomorrow. But thanks for listening as always, and until next time, don't be a stranger.